Uttar Pradesh is witnessing a series of wolf attacks for 9 children, and more than 30 people are injured. We have with us Dr. YV Jhala Institute of India. Sir, my first question is: it has been more than 6 months since the wolf attack was first reported. What has been the success of the Operation Bhedia launched by the government?
I think the government doing a very good job at trying to mitigate this problem. We are not exactly sure which animal or how many animals are involved. The wolf is implicated in these attacks because it seems to be the most likely animal. But it could be feral dogs, it could be wolf-dog hybrids, or somebody's captive wolf which has been released, or wild wolves. So we are not sure about it. Judging from the aspects of the attacks, as well as the killing and eating of the children involved, I suspect that it's a single animal doing the attacks and eating the kids, not the entire pack. So that's what is my assessment of the situation. And I think the UP government has done a commendable job at catching these 5 wolves today. It's very difficult to catch wolves, one of the most difficult animals to catch because they don't normally come in cages and they are not within darting range. They detect the human being who's sitting there to dart them much before you can actually put a dart in them, and they keep a distance of more than 100 meters from most humans. So it's very difficult to catch these animals. So it's very commendable that they've caught 5.
Sir, since you talked about that wolves can detect human beings from a long distance, what could be the possible cause of these wolves becoming man eaters? Or the government, and does the government know how many wolves have become man eaters?
We are not sure whether it is wolf in the first place because there is no direct evidence based on DNA or direct sighting or pug marks which confirms it to be a wolf. So we could have done DNA tests from the bodies of the children which were killed. There is a lot of hair which is deposited on the clothing. There's saliva in the wounds. We could have done DNA tests from them and confirmed whether it's a wolf or a wolf dog hybrid, feral dogs, what is involved in these killings. That is a missing element in the whole investigation. But so that's where we are right now. I'm sorry, I missed a part of your question.
No, sir. Does the government know how many wolves have become man eaters, or how many
No,
animals are?
we don't know that as yet. We don't know how many animals are involved in the attacks. As I told you, I speculate it to be a single animal because if a pack was involved and was feeding on the children, then there would be nothing left of the child's body. So one wolf consumes anywhere between 3 to 9 kilos at a single meal, and then doesn't feed for 3 to 5 days. So if given an opportunity, a pack feeding on a dead child would consume everything. There would be only skeleton left and a head in some side, limbs on the other parts. The whole body would be broken up into pieces and scattered over a large area. But what we find is just 5 to 6 to maybe 8 kilos missing from the body, and the body is intact. That suggests that a single animal has been feeding on the dead children, not the entire pack.
The experts have pointed out that there have been several lapses in the investigation of the captured wolves. Like no feces of the wolves were checked, or they were not made to vomit to check if they had consumed human flesh. Can you elaborate on this, sir?
Yeah, that's true. I think we could have done a lot of things in retrospective situation. We could have collected DNA from the dead bodies itself. That itself would have confirmed a lot of things. Which animal or which species is involved? That's the first thing which was missing. Secondly, when the animals were caught, normally most animals vomit when they're given ketamine. And these vomits could have been tested for human DNA. Of course, you have to be very careful because when you look for human DNA, the person who's collecting the vomit or the feces can himself or herself contaminate it, and you'll get human DNA. So one has to be very cautious when interpreting these results, even if human DNA is found in those remains. So a proper collection of product. But this is retrospectively. When you are in the field and situations are such where everybody has to manage a crowd, manage the VVIPs who come there. There's a huge hustle and bustle. Under such situations, doing everything as per protocol is a very difficult task. So unless you put yourself in the shoes of the people who actually done the practical field capture, it's easy to blame.
So there have been speculations that animals may not be wolves, but maybe a crossbreed of wolf and dog. I want to ask you: is it possible? Do we have an estimated count of the number of wolves in India?
Yeah, the Indian wolves are critically endangered. They are the most ancient lineage of wolves which are actually living on the planet. they evolved in the Indian subcontinent, so they are indigenous. Unlike many of us, humans have come into India, tigers and lions both have come into India, but the wolves have originated in India. So they are the true denizens of India. Today, they number anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 wolves in the country. There are far fewer wolves than there are tigers in our country. But they don't get the attention which is required for conservation because they are not as charismatic as the tiger or the lion or the snow leopard, So that's the problem with conserving wolves. And they don't, most of the population lives outside of protected areas because they've been driven out of protected areas by the large cats, the tigers, lions, leopards, and also the congeneric, the dhole, which is a separate genera, which is the Cuon alpinus, wild dog which lives in forests. So the wolves in India are relegated to grasslands, scrublands, agro-pastoral landscapes, And in these areas, we don't have protected areas, you don't have national parks and sanctuaries which cover the population of wolves. So that's the issue with wolf conservation in India. So wolves and
Yes.
dogs are the same species, basically, Canis lupus. The Indian wolf is Palipus subspecies, and the dog is Familiaris. So both being Canis lupus have the same number of chromosomes, and they can hybridize to produce fertile offspring. And since wolf populations are going down and dog populations in India are increasing exponentially, we have a lot of issues of wolf-dog hybrids. And they are also done artificially because you want to, people want to create ferocious dogs for guarding. And if you have a wolf-dog hybrid, it's a far more ferocious animal than the dog itself. So people do hybridize them in captivity. How far it happens in UP, we don't know, but it can happen and it could be happening. If such hybrids or even wild wolves which are kept as pets, there's people have a fad of
Oh,
catching the pups and keeping them as pets. Once you release them, because a cute cuddly pet becomes an adult all of a sudden, and an adult animal which is wild is difficult to keep as a pet. So you release it. But this animal can be extremely dangerous because it approaches human habitation for food. It's been fed by humans, kills livestock, and sometimes attacks people and kills them as well. So hybrids or captive wolves are capable of being lethal to humans, So one has to be careful about them.
so some experts have speculated that these attacks on children could be revenge attacks by wolves. Is it possible for an animal to pick and choose its target like this?
Revenge is a phenomenon which is in the human psyche. I don't think animals have a revenge tendency at all. Unless you look at highly evolved creatures like elephants who keep a memory and they can possibly have, antagonistic feelings to somebody who has persecuted them or harassed them in earlier times. But other animals like dogs, wolves, and all of them do remember negative reinforcement. For example, if there's a car has passed by on a road and killed the puppies of a dog, the bitch will remember that a car is a danger and will bark at a car or chase the tires and bite it, and that's about it. It does not know that the human being inside is responsible for driving the car. It's not going to attack the human. So it is very far-fetched thinking that wolves remember that humans have killed their pups and therefore we should kill the children of human beings. I think that's too far-fetched an idea, and animals don't have revenge feelings as humans do.
So, these attacks have been reported in Bahraich, but there are also reports coming in from Lakhimpur Kheri and some other districts also. Is it true that
Right.
these attacks are spreading?
No, it's not the case. As I told you earlier on as well, it is one particular animal, be it a wolf-dog hybrid, or a pet wolf, or a dog, which has learned, or due to some handicap, maybe an injury or something, has learned that in this environment, children are the most easy prey. It has lost its fear of humans. So as soon as this one particular animal is eradicated, the attacks will stop. Something very similar happened in 96, 97, when one single animal was responsible for the death of 38 children. So once that animal was eliminated, the whole thing stopped. And after 30 years, this incident has come back again. So it's a very, very rare incident, and it is in a specific environmental condition where in this region of the world, poverty prevails. There is no proper housing. Children are unguarded and are more vulnerable than even livestock. Livestock is put behind corrals at night and tethered. Children sleep out in the open, often alone, in the accompaniment of their elder siblings and no adults to care for them. In such circumstances, a predator just has to learn that there is a surplus of food available and it's easy prey, and then it can take to child lifting. wolf attacks are of two types. One is rabid wolves, which dogs, jackals, cattle, camels, human beings, anybody can get rabies. And once you get rabid, the tendency is to bite and promote the virus. Yeah. So any animal which is rabid is going to do that. So there are rabid wolf attacks, hyena attacks, jackal attacks all across the country wherever the wolves occur. But predatory attacks by wolves, where they kill children and old fragile adults, is only in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and very sporadically in some parts of India, very, very sporadic, where such poverty conditions do prevail. So it is a very unique phenomenon, doesn't occur regularly. Feral dogs in India kill more human beings than actual wolves do. Okay, so just keep that in mind. About 55 people are killed annually by tigers, about 150 by leopards, equal number by elephants, about 50,000 die due to snake bites, and over 150,000 die due to car accidents. But we don't give a damn about people dying due to car accidents. But about 8 to 10 children killed once in 30 years by wolves, and the media, calls them all kinds of stuff, man eaters and Adam Khor and whatnot, and we blame the species as such. It is this one particular animal which needs to be eradicated as fast as possible, and it will stop the crisis from happening. It should have been done long back.